1991 to 1999, the lovely Ambassador Lubica Oczewska, for whom I have the incredible honor of interning for in 1990.
I see great opportunities here. I felt a duty to serve this unbelievable city on easy to remember that. So, I learned more and more about our history than I knew from the tales I had heard before. What did I do with that? Well, my crucial that raised its head. Geographically, it's smaller, and let's not fight to make it bigger. Let's keep peace. If you're in Greece, be a good Greek citizen. But you should have human dignity. You should be able to dance what you wish to dance. Have the weddings as you wish to be them while still speaking Greek and being a Greek. Just like in the United States, you should speak English and be an American while being proud of our traditions. That's how we stay together. That's what it's called, United Macedonian Diaspora. So I came down here to Maryland. I got to know a very good pal. He couldn't be here. He was at a legal conference with his firm and couldn't make it. Japan, a wonderful young man. He and I did the best we could. Wasn't always so good, but we did the best we could to meet journalists, Warren Conrad and others, to meet with folks at the Department of State, at the Pentagon, Foreign Relations Committee in Congress. Whatever we could, so we could tell the story about where we were from, why we mattered. And this constitutional
Gjoko Sikoski, my friend that I met 5 years ago, and his brother, thank you for bringing him. I mean, his wonderful father, who I had the pleasure of meeting last night for the first time. My friend Jerry Nalmo, for whom I will say a few words later. And last but not least, I want to thank my beautiful wife Maria for giving me so much to us. Trees, and those trees have been growing. But if we want to see the forest grow and spread even more, in the next 10 years and beyond, we need to do even more of what we have done, and perhaps few different things. More specifically, I think we should do the following 4 things more effectively. First and foremost, I think we need to find more creative ways to reach to our people around the world and to unite them. We need to do this because united we are stronger, and united we can tell the world with a more resolute voice that we are Macedonians, that we are here to stay, and that we will never waver when it comes to defending and protecting what is rightfully ours. We can't expect our neighbors and others to respect our house if we ourselves do not do the necessary hard work and put our own house in order first. And the only way that we can achieve this is if we work even harder together and become even more united than ever before on all issues that are of great importance to us Macedonians. I personally do not know of any other organization that can do this today better and more effectively than the UMD. So we need to lead the way and continue to reach out to our people, to educating and uniting. Second, we need to invest in our young people even more than we have in the last 10 years. The future is something that perhaps we have not done as much in the last 10 years. And that is to reach out and to educate those that may need us and refuse to accept us because we are Macedonians, or simply because they do not understand us or do not know our side of the story. If the Greek philosopher Socrates was right when he said that the only good is knowledge and the only evil is ignorance, surely then, sooner or later, even the most ignorant will one day accept the truth that they have willingly or unknowingly refused to see or accept for a very long time now. If we reach out to them more than we have in the past, and if we can manage to educate them more about our side of the story, then perhaps in time they will have the knowledge and will find the necessary strength required to do the right thing, the good thing, and accept us for who and what we are, rather than trying to negate us or continue to lie to themselves that we do not exist. I know that achieving all of this will not be an easy task, but if we can manage to unite our people and work together, then there is no doubt in my mind that we will succeed. And that the future of both the UMD and Macedonia will not only be secured for generations to come, but that both the UMD and Macedonia will flourish and prosper for a very long time. After all, if Alexander the Great could conquer an army of 200,000 of the Republic of Macedonia, helping them to bring business and attract investments, I think he's done a wonderful job. Jerry, I think few of you that don't know you, or that may have not known you well, or still may not, probably doubted why you did what you did. You were a successful businessman, you had everything you wanted here. And they probably were surprised by your decision to go back. I, on the other hand, never was. The reason being, I know how much Macedonia meant to you, and I know how much love you have for Macedonia. And we always talked about how you can give back, and how you can go and help the land of your ancestors. And I thank you for accepting that challenge. I think you've done a wonderful job, and I hope you continue to do it. So I'll stop here. Jerry, if you would say a few words, please.
Thank you, Solomon. And it was so late I got involved with you, and I guess it was 7 years ago, a long time ago. Dobro večer. Thank you for being here tonight. I'm really proud to be here to see all these patriotic Macedonians tell stories about the old country. They would always share stories about the simple but good life they left behind. So that was always in my heart. When I went away to college, I sort of left in community in Columbus, Ohio, and sort of chased that corporate dream, and then I went into my own business. But I never forgot that. And I think really that upbringing is what really prepared me the most for this challenge, the challenge to be a Minister for Foreign Investments in the government of the Republic of Macedonia. It's not really what I learned in college or the 2 Fortune 500 companies I worked for, or the 20 years I ran my own business. It's really those lessons that I learned from my family. And that's really prepared me because it is a tough challenge. 2006. By the way, the United States is ranked 20th. We're ahead of that. That's amazing. You can open up business now. And I tried to do business there. What year was it? 2001. It was impossible. You can open up a company. I've seen it happen. It's ranked number 1 in Southeast Europe. According to the World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Ranking, Macedonia is the 4th most welcoming country in the world. According to Foreign Policy Magazine's top investment destination, we're ranked 29th. By the way, the United States is ranked 26th. But the United States has 250 years to get there. So we've done a lot in a very short period of time. I can't tell you how hard we're working and how hard, right and wrong, what you believe, but how hard our Prime Minister and all of us are working to try to keep up with him. According to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, we have the highest growth in the region, and most EU countries at 4.3% this year. According to FBI intelligence reports, Skopje is in the top 10 European cities of the future. And this should not surprise you. Macedonia has one of the lowest divorce rates in the world, and Macedonian children are the happiest in the world, according to the recent Good Childhood Report. How about that? That doesn't surprise any Macedonian. And thanks to people at Pave in our parliament who push pro-family legislation, it means that we have a strong, and you know this, we have a strong traditional family structure and foundation, and that's what contributes to a secure society, even in the horribly tough economic times that we've had. And foreign investors have mentioned that to us. When they know how high the unemployment is, and they see how safe it is to walk around Skopje late at night, they're very, very surprised. And I really sincerely believe it's because we have such a strong family foundation. I'm going to mention Stony and how well they speak English. I mean, everyone speaks English. It's the reason why my Macedonian's not improving. Everybody wants to speak English to them. And English is the language of international business, so I think we're in a good position there. By the way, Macedonia is also among the top 10 countries to visit, according to Lonely Planet, but everybody here knows how beautiful Macedonia is. So I really am going to end here pretty soon. I'm really honored to be here. I'm honored to be here with a lot of very close friends that I haven't seen in a long time. I just noticed Greg over here somewhere, so a lot of good friends from Chicago and others, many others. And I got to say one thing: uniting Macedonians is not an easy task, and you guys know that. It's not easy. It's not easy here, and it's not easy there. And it takes a lot of hard work and dedication, and you have to have a unified vision to be successful in that. And again, the word is united. It's a united vision. Without unity, there's nothing but chaos. And this is true in any relationship: family, sports, business, government, any group. And that's why the first word united, it was Scully told me that when you called me 10 or 11 years ago and talked to me about joining, and I said, all right, all the time. You mentioned united so much to me, and it's true. But I got to say one thing, and my friends here, this is one thing we must improve. We must improve being united. And in fact, we have become the most competitive pro-business country in Europe. That's why successful companies right here, like Johnson Controls in America, have already built a factory and have just announced the plan on building a third in just a few years since their
evening. Dinner is about to be served. And while you're returning for dinner this evening, we have performances by two very talented special guests. And the family has a very bright future ahead of them. We are so proud to have you with us tonight. Please welcome Anniversary Gala.
more than we than what we get. It's not a matter of security to take something off. It's always been made. Yeah, we have made it. Yeah, yeah. Oh, we can do it. We call engineering. Because we don't have a control like that. It's a yeah, we're working on it. Sorry about it. Ready, go with that, Chuck. No, the secret is
In 2011, in 2012, in 2013, and in 2014. For the fourth year in a row, we have been voted the best airline in Europe. Thank you, Turkish Airlines.
Oh, she's in the bathroom.
Imagine a world where flying is living and living is flying. Where everybody is working in harmony, preparing for the big moment to welcome a special visitor. That visitor is you.
Have been invited to play this occasion. I just wanted to add something aside during this November will mark the 50th anniversary since my parents left the confining groups of communism for Yugoslavia, so it's kind of a special year for us. So I'm going to be playing a couple of pieces. The first one will be by a piece, a composer, Jose Gallos from Spain, the time before Mozart's time. But he also wrote about 17 Polish songs. And curiously enough, another pianist from Amsterdam took about 7 of those songs and made translations for the piano. And this one is called English. No doubt is without a waltz, and this is the waltz by the French composer, once about. And I'll go straight into my final piece, which is a piece tribute to the Macedonian culture. It's written by an American composer, Alan Cornes, and it's called the Macedonian Anthem.
Hey, change your sides. One festival is something.
Thank you, Sonia. Please join me for a big round of applause for Sonia and the wonderful work she's doing in CPS. Before I start with my brief remarks, I promise, I just want to recognize that my parents are here on table 2 right here, and my little 3-year-old niece and my sister, which I'm really pleased that came from New Jersey today to be with us. And I haven't seen them in 3 months due to this gala and Toronto's gala, so this is the first time I've seen them in roughly 3 months, so I'm really pleased that they could make it. Have been a huge support base for me and Mark. Many times throughout the year I've seen in person or phone from Buffalo, so I'm really pleased that they're part of UMD. Very honored and grateful that they're part of UMD. And thank you, and I will say I love you all 3 for everything that you do. And thank you very much for supporting UMD and me. Really quick, I know your shoes are bothering you. These individuals are what make UMD happen. And these are the individuals that I cannot do that I do as UMD president. So thank you for your friendship, your support, and I want to ask all of you to give them a round of applause for everything they do for UMD. Please. Now, without the hard work of our planning committee, this event would not be possible. And I also want to recognize all our planning committee members. Unfortunately, before I turn to the ones that are here, Luca Asolov is in Jordan, so she regrets that she can't make it. But I want to call, rise, Milena, Shikica, Mario, Philip, Sal, Alexei, Anna, Zlata, Anna, there's Anna, again. Who else can I say? Rodana, Band, please.
I know everybody.
So I hope I didn't miss anybody, but thank you very much for helping plan this event and being literally like the go-to for this on everything. So they all deserve a big round of applause. Sponsors for supporting this event. Before I go to the speaker that we're going to have next, I also want to just recognize our partner organizations that are here tonight. We have Alana and Cassie of the American Jewish Committee that are here, and we work very closely with on across sort of inter-ethnic dialogue and relations. UMD. I also want to, those of you who have had the opportunity to go to UMD's office, and please, before you leave town, those of you that are traveling, please stop by 1510 H Street Northwest. But we could not be more grateful for the relationship that we have with the British Coalition of America and the Advisory Council on Laws and University we have. And we share an office together. So many of you met from Liz from TCA and I love from ACBH are fantastic friends. They have been very helpful with this event as well. And it's great to work from an office environment because I can tell you for the first 2 years of UMD, me being full-time president, I had to work from home. And yes, it's great to work from home, but working in a working environment in such a great setting and with wonderful people is really a joy and a privilege. So thank you very much. Lastly, literally formed out of Starbucks. So coffee shops. I love coffee, I'm sure you all love coffee, but it was on Wisconsin Avenue, 2003 roughly, that we set up sort of this Macedonian Students and Young Professionals Association and Marina and many others that are here today from that first group. And that sort of grew into what would become UMD. Literally beginning, we all started going to the White House. Usually when UMD is organizing meetings. So thank you very much for helping us and all of you were able to get a tour of the White House. I can't thank the team there for helping out and arrange some of the tours for the reps and other folks. Now, our UMD logo, which you all have seen and was on the screen previously for the sponsorship slide, this last bit. The big sort of loops represent the older generation, the smaller loops represent the younger generation, and all the little loops are the seeds, planting the seeds for the future. And all of you are here, past or older generation, current generation, and the future generation, Generation M, which we launched several years ago, and today sort of rebranded launch with Philip Mario and Alexei at our UMD offices and many other individuals that are involved with Generation M, the next generation of Macedonian leaders. And we need to invest in their future. And the scholarship and the fellowship program, we rely on these individuals, and we hope that they have promising careers ahead to give back to the Macedonian community. And I know Alex will touch on this with Lou's contribution. And we're honoring Lou tonight. It is very special, I think, for all of us. So thank you all again for supporting UMD, for being here present, and I look forward to all of us later on dancing to Hopelessly Echoes. But now let me introduce the next speaker, a member of the Senior Foreign Service. Tanya has already entered the U.S. Foreign Service in 1991 and is currently Director of the Office of South Central Europe in the Department of State. Previously, he was political counselor at the U.S. Embassy in Kabul. He served previously in positions in Iran, Panama, Kosovo, Slovakia, Albania. His full impressive biography obviously is located in this evening's journal on each of your seats, as you saw. Tom, as I said yesterday, spoke before our board, advisory council, and regional reps of the.
Congratulate Lasho, who will be out later tonight with the global UMD Macedonia Heritage Public Service Award, which is great. That's fantastic. Well, let me just say again, congratulate UMD for its 10-year commitment to advancing Macedonian and American friendship with the U.S. and preserving the communities. Of course, I can say that here in front of the UMD community, our people-to-people connections are the lifeblood of our bond. Through your work for local communities and university campuses in states like Illinois, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, the halls of Congress, UMD is building new bridges between Macedonia and the U.S. It's hard to believe how far UMD has come in my short knowledge of the organization since it opened its doors 10 years ago. At that time, the wounds of the 1990s wars were still fresh, and the promise of Euro-Atlantic integration remained an inspiration for those countries, aspiration for those countries. Today, 10 years later, we see that the vision of Euro-Atlantic integration and NATO EU membership can be realized, that past grievances can be overcome, reconciliation is possible, and the dream of a Europe all free and peace is achievable. But that dream can only be complete when Macedonia is fully integrated into Euro-Atlantic institutions. Macedonians say that, the old saying, a good friend is recognized in times of trouble. The spirit of that proverb has been at the core of the Macedonian-American security relationship for more than a decade. The community is empowering that growth through its creativity, resourcefulness, and global ties. They do so for a simple reason. As Macedonia faces the world, they recognize better than anyone the country's potential. But that potential cannot be fully realized without the hard work to show up the principles of inclusion, connection, and dialogue that undergirded UMD's work for a decade. That is why we must work equally to guarantee our shared principles, the source of our economic success, and the gateway to Macedonia's Euro-Atlantic future. It is important that all people from Macedonia, ethnic Macedonians, ethnic Albanians, Turks, Roma, and Laks, are fully included in the political and economic life of the country. As Secretary Kerry said in his Macedonian National Day statement last month, the country's diverse population is
Thank you so much, Tom, for those wonderful remarks. And I don't think UMD could agree more that the U.S.-Macedonia friendship is one of strategic importance to both countries. I think one for Macedonia and for the U.S. in the region. I don't think the U.S. or Macedonia has a better friend than the U.S. So now I'd like to call up our next speaker, Stephen Matsky, who is an investment officer for the U.S. Agency for International Development Credit Guarantee Program. Infrastructure, clean energy, agriculture, and climate change mitigation. With experience in public and private finance, Stephen helped structure the first non-sovereign bank, sovereign bank municipal bond in West Africa, and the first sub-national diaspora bond. Stephen has a very special and exciting announcement to make to all of us here tonight. And I just want to make a note to that. This week is the Global Diaspora Week that USAID, the government, the state, and many other organizations are part of. And UMD has been a supporter of the Global Diaspora Forum and Week since 2011 when Secretary Clinton founded it and we formed the Southeast Europe Coalition. Really welcoming Stephen Matsky.
Thank you. Country with a quarter of this photo. Now, 75% of this was sent to developing countries as remittances, which, if you can see the graph there, is the blue line. As you can see, these remittances are a very significant financial flow. They're actually more stable than private investment, which is the red and green lines. And then they've now grown larger than the official development assistance globally, which USA funding fits under. Official assistance is about $85 million a year. This graph tells me that remittances have been countercyclical to the financial crisis in 2009, and they're also a very reliable source of funding. Most of these remittances are sent home to families for basic consumption and survival. Only about 30% of this is used for other activities like savings, buying land, or starting a business. While basic consumption is very important for all families, what if we can strike a more even balance with investments in long-term development? What if we could direct just 15% of these remittances to development projects like healthcare, small businesses, agriculture? This is reasonable given recent surveys of diaspora from many communities, and it would essentially equal the current official development assistance funding levels. However, directing this 15% would be challenging in emerging markets, as most of you know. There's a lot of pitfalls in these economies. There's a new social media investing platform called HomeStrings. HomeStrings helps mobilize diaspora investors and directs them to new opportunities that are local within the countries they're working. We've also partnered with Seed, which is a credible financial intermediary with local fund teams in many emerging markets that identify, screen, and package investment opportunities. These opportunities will be placed on the HomeStrings platform. So this partnership is structured as sequential loans, entirely with private capital and between independent organizations. USA, and particularly my office, helps to strengthen the transaction by providing a 50% guarantee to the loan between HomeStrings and Seed. We've just launched a pilot transaction for $20 million in several countries. And it's my pleasure to say that Macedonia will be the first country that will pilot this in. In fact, all the partners I described on the previous slide will be in Macedonia in Skopje on the 30th of this month to launch the initiative. It's one part of a growing endeavor for USA to better engage with various diaspora communities around the world. And there's many parts to this engagement strategy, which include outreach and partnerships with organizations like this, with investment products like I just described, with volunteerism, entrepreneurship, etc. To learn more about this, I've actually
Dobro večer, poštovani gosti. Bilo mi je što je gledam večera sa nas. Se nadam da je to sigurno budete ova svečanost. And dear friends, thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm not going to name every one of you who has been here or single out any of you, but I do want you to understand that we appreciate every single one of you that's tonight in the audience. We appreciate your support and welcome you to always our events. As you heard over the weekend, the symbolism of tonight's event is celebrating 10 years of UMD. This accomplishment has been made possible through the help of many Macedonians and friends of Macedonia around the world. But some did stood out at the beginning when UMD was just an idea. Now, before I go into introducing our awardees tonight, I have to mention the work of two individuals that have helped me accomplish what UMD has been here. First, I want to say thank you and acknowledge my wife, Christina Mitras, who has stood by me for these 10 years, supporting me for the work of UMD. Has understood that this passion that I have is not curable, and that great pleasure to fight for social justice, to promote the Macedonian cause, to promote Macedonian heritage around the world. Thank you so much, I really appreciate your support over these last 2 years. Thank you so much. The second individual is someone that all of you know, and as I visited the US Capitol today and I looked around some of the displays, there was this one. His passion for Macedonia is self-evident. He's the modern revolutionary in today's fight for the Macedonian cause. He's the heartbeat of UMD. He's our President of our time. It takes a sacrifice, and he has sacrificed his professional career to work for UMD, working late because we doubt and say, what are these young guys saying? How can we trust you? How can we believe that you're going to accomplish so many things? But we had this positive energy. We told them, we're going to do this. Whether you're going to be with us or not, this train is going to move along. And I remember we were so excited when we signed up 2 new members. We go to an event and we 30 people and we signed 2 new members. It's $35 each. Wow, that's great. Our bank account went across $1,000. Wow, that was a significant achievement. But I did wonder, and there was doubt, if we were going to achieve what we really wanted to do out of UMD with this funds, just the support was not happening. And we envisioned this organization. We had hope, but the hope was fading. And then he pulled a rabbit, a massive rabbit out of a hat, a game changer. So Mr. calls me one day and he goes, "You're not going to believe this." What do you mean? He goes, "Well, I have gotten the Turkish Coalition of America to agree to give us a grant, $25,000 every 6 weeks, every 6 months, my apologies, for 3 years. They will match every $25,000 we raise in a 6-month period. They will match that." Wow, $150,000 for 3 years? So without a shadow of a doubt, our friends in Turkish Coalition of America have been the wings that have taken us to propel this organization. And that's all because of him, because of his network, his connection, his conviction. And with all those funds to get the organization going, and then we found a lot of Macedonians who also wanted to match and help and contribute to fundraise that money to accomplish those goals. And that's how this organization started to go. And words cannot express my admiration and dedication for his Macedonian cause. He put so much into this. It's often very little credit. Many times he does receive criticism, but he continues to remain positive. You know, there's a Macedonian saying that says, that's you, you can keep on going no matter what people say about us. And I'm going to have to quote and make the best impression I can from Greg from Casablanca for a very important event, which is celebrating somebody's work and dedication for his service. And I want to go back, and some of you saw the email that I sent out a few days ago about UMD and how it reminded me so much of my daughter, Isabella, who's here with us tonight. Seeing how the organization blossoms and my daughter blossoms. And when we first started UMD, we were just 20-something young folks that had ideas. And we definitely needed, as some of you know who've had young children, you definitely need help from elderly to give you some advice, not to know how to change the diaper, because it does get stinky from time to time. So we wanted to sort of pull some experience from Macedonians that have been involved in the cause for a while. And Meta and I started, and others started going to other Macedonians that have been working in organizations and talk to them about the new idea we had and how we were going to make it different this time. And it just so happened that my family was visiting an aunt of mine in Tampa, Florida, and Meta goes, "Well, if you're going to be in Florida, you got to meet Lou Flash." I said, "What? Lou Flash? Who's Lou Flash?" Well, Lou Flash is just a very well connected, very successful Macedonian. He's been involved for so many years, so many decades. Really? I've never heard of Lou Flash. Well, that's because he likes to be humble and he doesn't like to shine a bright light on me. But trust me, he has done a lot. He's a very successful Macedonian. He's got a ton of experience. You need to meet him. Okay, so I said, all right, we're in Florida, so why not? We made the drive from Tampa to Naples for a few hours. And so I have several anecdotes from my dear friend Lou, and the first one is really the time that I met him, the first impression. So, wow, this gentleman really knows what he's talking about. I mean, you do not get to become an advisor to a president of a country if you're not this smart and this experience. So I said, Lou, well, Macedonians need a fresh start. And there's a group of several 20-something young Macedonians that would like to start this professional organization, and we think that we can make a difference. And my view has always been that immigrants, when they leave their home country, they start to become successful in their career abroad, because they really dedicated his life to serving society at large. When I first met Lou, I was just taken by his contagious passion for Macedonia, his positive attitude, and willingness to help. And in today's journal from tonight, you can see his professional accomplishments. He's worked for many Fortune 400 companies. He's definitely a successful professional. He's a volunteer and community service leader. Instead of telling me about he's involved in Little Boys Club and Naples and so many different areas that he wanted to give back to society. So please look through the journal for a lot of the details of his work and accomplishments as a professional. But let me just sort of put some highlights of his accomplishments in giving back to Macedonian cause and Macedonian areas. Lou was born in Canton, Ohio. Parents immigrated from Aegean Macedonia to the United States. Go through that university, go through school, become successful Macedonians. Some of them are here tonight to honor his mentor and somebody who's really provided for them, so this point of life for them to stand up and see. Lou wanted to display the Macedonian flag in front of his office. As an honorary consul, he thought he had the right to do so. Well, apparently the council didn't like that idea very, very well, and well, Lou didn't stop there. So this went on for months, maybe years, even maybe paper. There's this local citizen fighting for his right to display his flag, and his persistence paid off, and the country eventually was able to display the Macedonian flag in Naples. Now, the east side has shown some support, so I'm aware that Coral Gables has put up the Macedonian flag that will be waved for 6 months in honor of Lou Vlacho and his recognition tonight. So from about November to about May, the Macedonian flag from our great friend Dana Klein has managed to do that in one of the liberal neighboring community right across from Naples. So in 2008, Vlacho was presented the degree of Chevalier's Tremendous Cross by International Order of St. Stanislav of Macedonia for charitable service. Vlacho is an honorary member of the UMD Advisory Council and Macedonian Companion. This provided important and strategic advice on UMD's work. Especially in the beginning, when we really wanted to start a professional organization here in DC. 5 years ago, we were here, we had this idea, we needed some commitment from Macedonia. So Vlacho stepped up and said, I will back you up on this. He stepped up, provided financial support. That's the reason why we have the office today. He was one of the few that stood up right when we needed it the most. And what's really the most admiring thing for you, and then I'm almost done, is whenever you call Lou, whenever you talk to him about an issue, the first thing he says is, how can I help? And he means it. It's not just a nice question that he's going to ask. How can I help? And he will find a solution. Either he or a person that he knows will come up and solve that problem. And that has been such a gratifying.
Jason, do you have my speech ready? Everyone's tired, but allow me a few minutes. The first thing I want to do is I want you to raise your glasses as a toast to Alex, Mendel, and everyone else who has made the UMD what it is, and to congratulate you on your 10 outstanding years. Hear, hear. I know the time is late, and everyone's saying, are we ever going to eat? Are we ever going to listen and do some photos? But I do want to take a few minutes to say thank you to all of you at the UMD. I like to make jokes and say, yes, you're right, I don't like recognition. It's nice when somebody recognizes you. And I think that perhaps it was at the bottom of the list and they said, let's ask Lou, but I don't think that's the case. And it's really an honor. But my parents came from Breznica. Who said their village was the best? Breznica is the best. Unfortunately, Breznica, which is in northern Greece, on the border just before you go to Albania. At the time my parents lived there, had about 800 people there. When I go there now in the winter, over those many years, we had this discussion about the name of Macedonia, and are we Macedonians, or are we Greeks, or are we Bulgarians? I'm not a very bright guy, but I want to tell you this. I never met my grandparents, because my mom and dad ended up here. The buck stopped with my dad. He came here in about 1914, 16, I don't know exactly, maybe my sister Christine remembers. My mother came in 1936. I was born in 1937. I think I was conceived on the train, based on the papers I've been able to put together, on the train from New York City to Canton, Ohio. It was pretty close to that time. And I was born, my sister was born here in Ohio. She ends up in Canton, Ohio, and she has to raise children in the United States. But we always were told we were Americans first and Macedonians second. When I've given talks in Macedonia, I always say the following. My involvement with Macedonia came. My sister and my brother-in-law were there. My son, who's not with us this evening, was also there. At the Washington, I can't remember the name of the hotel back here, it was the Sheraton, Washington. In 1982, I had the pleasure of being installed as the international president of the Institute of Management Accountants. My mother was with me for the first time at a fair like this. My sister and my brother-in-law can tell you. And at that meeting, I made a comment, something along the lines, I stand here in awe in the nation's capital, the son of Macedonian immigrants, to take the office of the largest management accounting association in the world. I thank my mother and my father, who was deceased at the time, for the opportunity that they had given myself, my sister, and my brother. You see, they came here for the same reasons some of you are here. It's been going on for 100 years or so. Came here for opportunity. Opportunity, education. And someone was talking about it earlier, about what's happening here. I don't know where the next Mecca, Macedonia. In the meantime, hold that thought. I didn't know many Macedonians at the time. I'm on the beach in Naples, Florida, where I now will shortly have lived for 25 years. And I'm walking along and I hear this Slavic poem going on at the end of the year. What language do you speak? And he said, I'm Serbian. I said, really? He said, how about you? I said, did say I was American? I said, I'm Macedonian. He said, my friend sitting here is Macedonian. I said, my goodness. Friendship started out. That friendship, which built the Accounting Association and the USAID project, really led to my involvement in Macedonia. Everyone, well, not everyone, a lot of people that I meet say they know President Boris. Jason knew him very well, wrote a lot of speeches for him, was intimately involved with him. I got to know him. We never talked about anything other than personal things. I used to go see him, still subscribe to one of the others that really doesn't do anything. This is the first one that really does anything. You know, when Ambassador Gillespie came here and he brought in the new Minister of Foreign Affairs, Antonio Milosevic here, they didn't know who to bring him to see in Washington. The UMD had only been a couple of years in existence. And I never believed, because you know, most Macedonians back in my era were Democrats, but I never believed that my Republican involvement would be the source of bringing Macedonians into the Congress and introducing them to senators and to congressmen. But we did that. And now the challenge is mental. The rest of the UMD people have open doors everywhere. That's what it's all about. You know, in 1982, I also talked about government being too involved. President Reagan was in office, and government is too involved in everything. But you really can't get done very much without the support of the politicians. So you're doing a great job there. The last thing I want to talk about is, he won't tell you what he does, but he's a big deal. So I'd like to introduce my son Vince, his wife Jerry, my granddaughter Megan, and my granddaughter Alexis. Two more groups. I'd like to also have Philip Gillespie. Is he still here? Please stand. Because his father, Zoran Gillespie, who was the ambassador for, 7 or 8 years, did an outstanding job and really laid a lot of groundwork that UMD is now beginning to use as a foundation. They were mentioned earlier, but I have my kids. I'm Uncle Lou to a lot of people. And I am so proud of the young people from Macedonia who have gone to my university, Ohio University, and have been so successful. First, Anna Stavresi. Anna, please stand. Outstanding young lady in the field of finance, works for one of the largest or most successful hedge funds in New York City, and she has done a great job, and she's a sweetheart. Her sister, Irena Stavresi, who is a swimmer but now is at Wells Fargo, and he is helping a small company be successful, Google. He and his sister, who couldn't be with us, his also went to Ohio University, and she keeps him honest because she is keeping Apple.
This is from Northern Greece. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention for all of 2 minutes, I promise 2 minutes. But they're Macedonian 2 minutes, which means it's 2 hours. If you'll just bear with me for just a moment, I have a lot of things to do. There are people here who have been gifted with a rather enormous responsibility. And that responsibility lies in something a cab driver said to me yesterday as we're driving around Washington to the embassy and back. And I asked the cab driver, I said, "Where are you from, sir?" And he said, "I'm from Ethiopia. I happen to see a cross hanging from this mirror." And I said, "Interesting, Ethiopia, cross, what does that mean?" So I said, "Curiosity, what does this cross mean? Are you Christian, Muslim, what is your faith?" He said, "I'm a Coptic Christian." And he turned around and he said, "What are you?" And I said, "Well, I'm a Macedonian descent, Orthodox." He said, "So am I." And we can give him for what he has done individually and what we can also do personally, which we try. I could go on forever because of my upbringing of my parents, which you've heard from others here. But I urge you to find a way to help educate the children, their nieces, nephews, and so forth.
Unlimited world of Turkish Airlines. Imagine a world where flying is living and living is flying. Where everybody is working in harmony, preparing for the big moment, to welcome a special visitor. That visitor is you. This year, you're invited to discover the unlimited world of Turkish Airlines.
In 2011, in 2012, in 2013, and in 2014, for the 4th year in a row, we have been voted the best airline in Europe. Thank you, Turkish Airlines.
gathered in a Starbucks near American University in Washington, D.C. to discuss a way to give Macedonians a voice in the capital. A year later, they launched what would become the United Macedonian Diaspora, also known as UMD. 10 years later, UMD is now the leading international non-governmental organization promoting Macedonia and the needs of Macedonians globally, as well as bringing educational advocacy on behalf of these interests to a new level. As the first ever Macedonian organization to open an office in Washington, D.C., just a block from the White House, UMD has worked on behalf of important Macedonian causes, including promoting recognition of Macedonia's rightful and constitutional name, safeguarding Macedonian civil rights, promoting our rich Macedonian culture, and instilling pride in our younger generations. UMD has been a huge proponent of ensuring that Macedonia's name, identity, and language remains intact and is preserved for generations to come. UMD has held 4 successful global conferences, which have brought together over 2,000 guests from 26 countries. Its 4th global conference, held in Skopje, Macedonia, focused on the topic of Macedonia 2013, 100 years after the Treaty of Bucharest, bringing together 45 scholars from 12 countries.
We talk about specifics of songs that you guys have here next week. What is your favorite Macedonian?
Oh, actually, this is probably the best conference I've been to in a year now. I love it because it's in Washington, in the center of the States, the advocacy, they just invite
Annual Macedonian Film Festival in Toronto, which showcases Macedonia's 100 years of filmmaking culture. They were also a sponsor of the 7th Macedonian North American Conference of Macedonian Studies at the University of Utah, which acts as a vehicle to preserve the study and the promotion of the Macedonian language. Your support empowers UMD to carry out its vital role of being a unified professional voice, educating global policymakers on Macedonia. A decade later, the Macedonian community voice has never been stronger, and to keep